something else that popped up. And it looked like you weren't just surprised when I asked her what's a reasonable amount of time where we could think about maybe a return?
Yes.
She's like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. My brain was
2 months.
No, my thought has been at least a month, which is about 10 games. There's 9 games left in December.
Yeah.
So my thought has been, let's see about January, which I still believe, because she brought up the point, like, do they really want this headline going into Christmas Day, their biggest day of the year? Probably not. So I do think it's going to be after that. But the fact that she's even talking about some sort of a reevaluation sensation within the next 2 weeks and potentially even before Christmas. I know 2 weeks gets us after Christmas, but I'm sorry to tell everybody, not that many shopping days left. But anyway, wasn't that a little surprising?
Yes, stunning, in fact. And if that is the way it goes, then that's a joke. The whole thing is a joke. It's a dog and pony show, and you never really wanted to help Draymond at all. If the whole thing is we want to help Draymond Green, we want to help Draymond Green work through whatever it is that has caused him to do all these things. Stomp, choke, punch. As I said, his last 26 games, stomp, choke, punch. And you can go all the way back before that, flagrants, yelling at the refs, whatever you think his issue is. It's clear that the league thinks there's an issue. Okay, so let's address the issue. If you're going to address the issue, you can't address it in 10 days. Now, can you address it in a month? No, but at least a month gives you the proper amount of time for him to take a step back and maybe start to put in work, and it becomes more than just optics. And if you're going to say he's suspended indefinitely, well, indefinitely for me is more than 5 games. You already gave him 5.
Oh, he's going to get 5. He's going to get more than 5.
So if he gets 5, then he is back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's back on Saturday, December 23rd. That's 9 days from now. So that's not even 2 weeks.
No, that's not happening.
Okay, if you give him 10, then he's back January 4th against Denver at home. So then you give him 10. But if you make it indefinitely, that to me is more than 5. You've already given him 5. And it's more than 10, because if you give him 10, then you give him 10. So I don't see 2 weeks like Ramona was saying. If you're giving him just 2 weeks, then give him 2 weeks up front.
Well, I think that there's 2 things. One, they're buying themselves a little bit more time to figure this out. And 2, they're sending a message to Draymond that we're not going to write it in ink, because when we write it in ink, you go, okay, and you serve it, and you come back and you're the exact same guy.
Right, that's fair.
They need to they're trying, I think, with their messaging, not to scare him. I don't know if you can scare Draymond, but they're trying to create some discomfort. Hey, Draymond, you're suspended, and I don't know when you're coming back. You know this. I deal with it like we all deal with this, right? You take something from the kid, right? I took the video game machine last week.
Yeah.
Within 2 seconds, when am I getting it back? And boy, does it drive him nuts when you go, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is an indefinite suspension.
Ooh, boy.
And I will put the damn machine back when I see you change. Okay, that's uncomfortable.
And not change once, but make it change and make it seem like it's going to stick.
Look at the man in the mirror.
Thank you, Michael.
So they're trying to create some discomfort. And they probably have, which is why I do think, and maybe I'm being so naive here.
Pollyannish.
Well, I don't think that he's going to be a new man when he comes back, but I think you're going to get a tiny bit of compliance. Not a lot. You're still going to be Draymond, but I think you're going to get a little bit of compliance because, look, the messaging, he can't do it again. You do it again, that's it. Year's over. You're gone.
No, you're saying do it again.
You cannot physically assault another player on the court.
Fine.
You can get a tech.
That's what I'm talking about.
You can bark at a ref. That's never going away.
Exactly.
That's not what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. He's getting a tech within 3 games for sure.
Right, and I will bet you on that. But I do think you're going to see him tap the brakes a little bit when he gets back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not saying he's going to double down. And the first chance he gets, he's going to clothesline or punch or stomp. And he's done all those things. He's flail kicked. He's groin punched. He's clotheslined. He's body slammed. He's stomped. He's punched. He's flailed. He's done it all. He's touched almost every box in terms of flagrant fouls. And I think when he comes back, it's going to be, I'm back. Draymond's back, and here we go. I'm back to doing what I do. I'm playing the way I'm going to play. League be damned.
Yeah.
I don't think he changes one iota.
I won't be surprised. Like, you might be right.
Yeah.
But I just think that this is going to send the message to him that this is your last try now, unless you want to miss the rest of the year. And that threat will work. That's a lot of money now. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money that you'll forfeit if you go haul off and clothesline somebody again. So let's hear from y'all. 888-957-9570. Eric in Danville. Hi, Eric. What's going on?
Yeah, how you doing? Happy holiday to all of you. But look, you guys exaggerating too much, you know? I mean, if you look at the video, you could see that the guy held him in the back. But now, if you see how Draymond Green played, he always with open arms. And when he turns around, he didn't hit him on purpose. Absolutely not. Have you seen, I'm sure you've seen a lot of soccer games. Have you seen Messi playing? I mean, this guy can chop your leg before you know. So come on, get it over with, you know? I mean, look what the Lambert did. Look what the Draymond, what's his name, from Piston did.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman.
Leave him alone, you know? He made a mistake.
Eric, can I interrupt you for a sec? And the only reason is this. You speak for many. And unfortunately for you, I'm sorry, your days are done with regard to being able to fan like that. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're welcome to have any opinion you want. But these leagues, that's done. We're done with the old days of rub some dirt on it, get an injection, and get your butt back out there. You might be right. Are we all too woke now? Maybe. But you're going to the blue tent. You're leaving the game. You're not allowed to clothesline everyone. This is an entertainment league that does not want those visuals on television. This is a television show. And so anytime someone goes, hey, Lambeer did this and Rodman did that, different world, different league, different world, no dice, not allowed anymore. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
These people, but I'm saying, we're talking about sport, but I look at the video for 100 times and I see him getting held in the back.
Yeah.
And if you see Draymond playing, he's playing always with open arms. Quiet. I'm talking to the...
1,700 here.
I love bonus takes.
What a perfect...
Great.
Yeah, what's the kid say, Eric?
What do you say? Do you like Draymond or not? Rom, do you like Draymond?
Yeah.
See? There you go, Eric.
That's so great.
There it is.
Yeah.
Teaching America's youth perfectly.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and clock someone along the head if they touched you first.
Well, he was holding him, and that's what Eric was saying. Draymond was being held by Nurkic, and I think Eric was going to go on to say that, Draymond was just trying to get away, and he lost his balance, and his arm just happened to swing back and just happened to connect at full extension with Yusuf Nurkic's face.
I mean...
It was happenstance, Mark.
Listen.
Get over it. Nurkic actually, it should have been a double common foul. Let's play basketball.
It's amazing to
1977.
me. Look, Eric's not the first caller the last 2 days to come with this take, which is that apparently Draymond is totally justified with all of these acts built together. The league is trying to tell him and all of you something very clear. This isn't about that act. It's about the actor. They're trying like hell. They're releasing statements that are telling you he's not being suspended indefinitely because Nurkic held him and he hit him in the face. He's being suspended indefinitely because he has decided now to start acting in a way that is the opposite of what this multi-billion-dollar company sees as the way it would like to present itself to the world. That's why he's being suspended indefinitely. Just like John Morant, just like Kyrie Irving. The league doesn't like anti-Semitism, it doesn't like guns, and it doesn't like unnecessary, violent views. That's why they're suspending these guys. It has nothing to do with one act. It has to do with the message that these players are sending on TV, and the NBA doesn't like it.
Yeah, in a contract year, as you mentioned yesterday, and somebody reported that, which is a great thing to point out, that the leagues are now entering into negotiations with their TV partners, and television ratings are everything, and the money generated by TV is what fuels this whole thing. And yes, Draymond is good for the drama part of it, but the casual fan, and I saw many Warrior fans in my Twitter feed talking about how they're done with Draymond, they want him gone, they're done with the Warriors and this and that. It's not an optic that the league wants to have one of their frontline players, one of their star players, acting in a way that runs counter to what the league is trying to promote.
888-957-9570. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Willard and Dibs on the free Odyssey app, wherever you find your favorite podcast. By the way, while you're there, you can do it for the other shows as well. Check out what they've been doing even today, Morning Roast and Steiny and Goo and their reactions to the Draymond suspension. And if you missed Ramona Shelburne on with us earlier, you can check that out as well. Let's go to Judy in Moraga, one of our absolute favorites. Hi, Judy. How are you?
Oh, my God, you guys, I'm like addicted to you. This conversation is so complicated. It's so intense. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the summit in May at Bonvino,
yep,
you asked, if Mark, it was you, like, should Draymond go?
Yep.
And honestly, it was a split vote. There was a lot of loud noise around it's time for him to go. But here we are, and now I wonder, first, what problem are we trying to solve with Draymond? Because is this personality? Is it mental health? Is it behavioral? Because the behavioral part is not working. He's gotten enough penalties, like a smart person could figure it out, like I better change my behavior or I'm going to lose my job. He hasn't figured that out. I believe it's a mental health thing because you guys remember that documentary with Deepak Chopra where he was talking about his anger management issues and all that kind of stuff. He's been fairly open about his struggle with anger management.
Yep.
So now here we are with this indefinite suspension, and if this isn't, I'm with you honestly. If this is a 5-game, don't. I mean that's the wrong message for sure.
No doubt. Which is why, that's why I don't think that's why they didn't come down with it that way this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger problem and a role model to boot. And last thing, I know other callers are probably dying to get in on this, but I called you guys when we were playing Boston and the crowd was chanting F you. And, here's Draymond's little guy with him. And I felt so badly. And I said, it's got to be so difficult from how you respond to that kind of pressure and that kind of anger. And yet, I guarantee we've got fans all over the world that are thinking, "What is this guy's deal?" It's just sad. It's really sad.
Judy, thanks.
Judy, thank you.
We love hearing from you.
Yeah, and the good people of Bonvino out there in Walnut Creek.
It was a great day. I remember it
Phenomenal
well.
day. Exactly. And you put it out there.
We've referenced it many times.
And you've crowdsourced, and you lead us through all these summits, and you always put out a couple of questions to the crowd, and that one was maybe the most stunning one of all. And you said, how you feeling about Draymond Green? You want him back? Who wants him back? Who wants him gone?
It felt at least 50-50. It might have been 55-45, get him out of here.
It was a dead 50-50.
Yeah.
I think Judy's right.
Yeah.
And I wonder now if we were in Bonvino today in Walnut Creek, it'd be a lot cooler if we were, quite frankly. And if you ask that same crowd, who wants Draymond back?
Oh, yeah. It would
who wants him gone?
Yeah, it would
It'd be 80-20, I think.
Might be 90-10. Yeah, I'm with you. I do like what Judy said. I think it's always important for us to remember this. I always look for spots where I don't feel like I can relate and then try to keep an open mind toward that. In other words, she's referencing like, okay, we hear Boston chant F you Draymond and print T-shirts. No one, and I'm not asking for anyone to feel sympathy. The man makes $25 million a year, and that's part of the show that he's in, and it's a very well-earned reputation. He's worked hard for it, and he got it. But let's not act like we know what it's like to be in that fishbowl. And so I don't know how that's affecting him.
Right.
I don't want to sound today like I'm blowing off the idea that he has a real issue. I just feel like we all do. We all do. I think everybody could use some therapy, and I also know that when you go to therapy, one session doesn't do it. Okay?
Of course.
And so what Ramona said that stuck with me is I don't even think the NBA is not looking at this like you got to go get fixed and come back when you're fixed. No, you got to go let this chill. You got to start. And if we feel comfortable with the direction of the process and the way that you're going to handle it going forward, then we'll talk about reinstatement. And that probably won't be that long unless he goes haywire in this process.
And puts out a podcast.
Yeah, which he's not going to do. One thing we've all agreed on for years, Draymond's smart. He's very smart.
This is not about smart or dumb, though.
It is coming back. Oh, yes, it is.
Well, I think this is and yes, you can get through the protocols.
You play the game.
And you can come back. Yep. But if you come back, your problem is not going away. And I'm looking at some of the comments from what Judy referenced, the Deepak Chopra Prime Video show called The Sessions, where he acknowledged his on-court rage, and he explained how rage is, quote, 100% a part of his identity. And he went on to say, I go on the floor, and no matter what, no matter who gets in the way, it's coming out, but it's emotionally draining. So you're asking a guy who has issues with his own rage control, you're asking him to go into an environment where the very act of performing brings out the rage. It's competitive. It's physical. It's physically demanding. Your adrenaline is through the roof. You've got adversaries on the court and in stripes, and now we're asking him to be able to control this rage. I think that the very nature of him being a basketball player at this level is setting him up to be a failure in terms of rage control.
Well, that's interesting because he's been an unequivocal success.
He has, but he's always been... he's been a success, but he's also been a failure.
It's getting worse. I don't think he's been a failure very often until this point.
There have been incidents where his lack of rage control has cost his team victories.
Sure.
And there's been collateral damage.
No doubt.
To his lack of rage control.
Yes.
And it would be like being in our business and having an aversion to conversation. Like if you hated it to talk to people and you were in sports talk radio, it probably wouldn't work. So you're asking a guy who has anger management issues, and you're in a situation where people are going to try to get your goat.
Oh,
and there are
19,000
people in Boston chanting "F you, Draymond," and you're supposed to contain yourself.
That's the other point that I think is a really, really good one and an interesting one because you talk about if somebody has a problem, well, where do you go? Well, you're supposed to go to the place where everything is positively set for you to not get triggered. Well, when Draymond comes back, it's actually going to be the opposite.
Right.
The environment will not only be what often triggers him, but the people around him will be trying to trigger him.
Exactly.
And it'd be like, you know what I mean? It'd be like you come out of alcohol treatment and they send you to a bar, and when you sit down, everyone's going, drink, 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 drink. That's what we're heading for.
Right.
That's weird. That's different. And you're right. That's very challenging.
It's challenging, and it's unique to his career. And, his career, by nature of being a professional athlete, and you mentioned this before, the expectation is just handle it. It's part of your job. Handle going to Boston and having 19,000 people chant F you, Draymond, because that's part of the job, right? And imagine if in our business, every negative thing said on the text line, on the phone line, on the YouTube feed, if every single thing that was negatively stated about you, I had to read it, and you had to read it, and the boss would come in and read it, and, Grandy and Lucas would chant it, and you'd be surrounded by it.
Not that far from the truth.
Yeah.
We can make that happen if you want.
Exactly.
You already buzz me every time I speak, Grandy, so I'm used to it. You can't get to me. Yeah. Oh, that feels good.
I'm just saying, correct. I do buzz you.
Exactly. Yeah, he gets to you every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I love Mark Grandy.
Vince in the city. Hey, Vince, what are you doing?
I hate Mark Grandy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Just got off of work.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Not
except
us.
for I got to sit in traffic now.
Yeah, boy.
Anyways, Draymond, I've been sticking up for him and, trying to defend him for like a really, really long time. And it's getting really hard now to defend him. I remember like maybe 6-7 seasons ago, Draymond was the guy who used to go around. He was like that annoying little brother who just like kind of poke you in the side. He would do that to guys that he knew he could get texts called on to. And he'd get those guys teed up and he'd force them to change the way that they're played. Well, now that's changed. He's now the guy who everybody's going after. It's been apparent since like 2018. He's the guy who's getting goaded into these calls. They talked about it before, and it's like now it's just now it's just Draymond being Draymond. But it's kind of like bullies get bullied, and he was that guy. He's a tone setter. Somebody else said it. He's getting older. He may not be the same because he's definitely dropped weight so he can continue playing throughout the season. And now I think he's lost his edge, and he's trying to find an edge, and he creates an edge with all of this extra nonsense. And, I feel like Steve Kerr is going to have to go Phil Jackson with Dennis Rodman regarding Draymond if they decide to keep him, because at this point he's a liability on the court, and he's taking up a roster spot. I hate to say it like that, but if you're not on the floor, that's somebody that could be on the floor playing to help the team win, and now you're banking on somebody who's questionable, whether they're going to finish the game or not.
Yeah, I don't think they feel that way, though, Vince. I get why you do, and I think you speak for many. But, Ramona even spoke to this. I don't think the Warriors are there at all. Vince, thanks. And I'm always drawn back to this when it comes to sports figures who are having some sort of trouble outside of the actual game, whether this is a legal issue, whether it's behavior within the game, but something that's outside of the X's and O's. The bottom line is if you can play and you can produce, they're going to keep trying to find a way to make you whole. And the Warriors really still feel like Draymond is good. They really still feel like they need him. I can't wait to hear what they say, by the way. This is another thing, and Steve Kerr tomorrow on Willard and Dibs. This is a team that has, for a year now, stated, we need him. We can't win without him. We're not a contender without the services of Draymond Green. And Steve Kerr just, as recently as Friday night, said, goal is a championship, and we're good enough to do it. Well, what about now? Because you've said you need him in order to do that, and now you don't have him.
Right, indefinitely.
So I'm really interested. I don't mean that that anyone's trying to pin them with their words, because the world has changed. But I'm very interested to hear how they spin that, what words they choose.
Right.
Going forward. Are you still a championship team? Because you said you weren't without him.
I think you're going to hear words like, stem the tide and, keep this thing afloat. And, we're still searching. We're 23 games in and we're still searching for our identity. And we're trying to get Andrew Wiggins up to where he needs to be. And, Clay is trying to find his place. And you know what, Mark? The other word you're going to hear, opportunity. Mm-hmm. This is going to give opportunity to Kuminga and TJD. And you know that AirPods has been playing great. BP off the bench. This is going to give opportunity to all what you fans want. The young guys. Play the young guys. Play the young guys. All right, Kuminga.
Here we go.
You ready for 30 a night?
Yeah.
30 minutes a night?
Let's
You're
see
getting it.
Let's see it.
Let's go.